start, and these are probably my favorite, are the formative assessments. So this formative assessment looks at the skill of contextualization. So we have a quick definition, and then we have a brief sentence, right? Just a sentence of context, and then a primary source. These formative assessments are meant to use whatever content is being taught. So in this case, it's a unit on the early American Republic, looking at a case study of the Sedition Act, but we're assessing both the literacy components that are required within the discipline of history, as well as particular historical thinking skills, in this case, contextualization. And so historical thinking is difficult, but it is simple, right? Usually the most difficult things to do are the simplest things to say. And so here, the students are engaging with the primary source. Here, they're actually reading an excerpt from the Sedition Act. And then in order to assess their historical thinking, they're only asked two questions. The first is what's called an upside down weighted multiple choice. And so this is using the format of the multiple choice in order to assess the complexities of the discipline of history. So the students read the source, then they're given 4 historical facts. These are all true historical facts, but not all facts are created equal, right, when we're contextualizing. And so the students then have to identify one fact that they think best helps understand why the document was written. What is the most important fact to contextualize this document? And then they have to justify that in the space. So these take less than 30 minutes, right? 20, 30 minutes. And on our platform, if it's done directly on the platform, we've built in a kind of closed system using generative AI to grade and provide feedback on this student work. And the students then get that instant feedback. Our rubric is aligned both to literacy standards and historical thinking standards. And the teacher, because the weighted multiple choice is, a 3, 2, 1, and 0-point answer, actually can get data along a continuum of understanding. So a traditional multiple choice, you may know why a student got, or you may know that a student got something wrong, but not why. But with weighted multiple choice, you can actually track student understanding over the course of like the 1 through 3 answers, or the 0 through 3 answers. And then same with the justification, right? It's out of 3. The students are given immediate feedback. And then actually the system produces data reports for teachers using that feedback to show the teacher kind of immediately where student strengths and misconceptions are around a particular skill. And so what we love to do with PLCs is, just say, okay, everyone, grades 6 through 12, it doesn't matter what content you're teaching. In the month of May, give a formative assessment on contextualization. And in our next PLC, we're just going to bring that data report. And we're going to talk about the strengths and misconceptions that our students have around the skill of contextualization and the way they articulate that skill through their writing. And then create vertically aligned goals. So pretty instantly, no teacher has to change the content that they're teaching, but rather change the lens in which they teach it. So we're looking at a particular thinking skill. And now the whole department, the whole district can have a common language for success to build vertically aligned goals as a social studies department. And then we can also take this data report to other departments and talk about how our students are articulating their thinking through writing and work on cross-curricular strategies and collaboration to push student learning forward, both in their thinking and their writing. So we have these formative assessments. There's usually between 4 and 5 per unit. So in this case, we see 5 here. And you can see they're assessing different skills. So we have one on contextualization, one on evaluating perspective, evaluating evidence, evaluating arguments, and comparison. So this allows you to assess multiple thinking skills through the content of a particular unit of study. You can see you can also download them as PDFs. I'll just show this really quick because the PDFs also have an answer key. And so we can see here is that contextualization icon. This is the same thing we saw. And then this is the teacher version. So we have the answer key, kind of a justification for that answer key, and then the rubric that is used. And the idea is just to create a systematic way to assess student thinking and writing in a very structured amount of time, right? Often, if we were to give this assessment without kind of the luxury that we now have post 2023 with generative AI, we wouldn't be able to give students feedback on this thinking as instantly as possible. But now we can give this as almost like a entry routine or a do first activity, and instantly have students be metacognitive about their thinking and writing by displaying that feedback and the data report. And so not only are we giving ourselves as educators a common language for collaboration, we're also giving students a clear language for what success looks like in the classroom. And that becomes transformative for class culture.